Hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson-Silik, and we've got an awesome show lined up for you this week. We're going to kick it off by tagging along with Jordan Brown to the UP. He'll be jigging for lake trout on Keewenaw Bay. It's an exciting story. You won't want to miss that. And Jimmy's got some other fun in store for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more things on this week's show. We're actually going to do a little rabbit hunting with a father and son team on a beautiful day. You won't want to miss that. And we're also going to have a really good venison recipe. If you have some burger left in your freezer, you're going to want to check that out as well. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's destination since 1988. Featuring varieties of homemade sausage, jerky, brats, and gourmet entrees. Holiday gift boxes can be assembled in-store or online. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By AnglerQuest Pontoons, a mid-Michigan company building boats for fishermen by fishermen. AnglerQuest pontoons are designed for comfort and functionality. On the web at anglerquestpontoons.com.
Soaking in the rich tradition of Michigan hunting for over 30 years, Vanguard is proud to sponsor our friends at Michigan Out of Doors TV.
So today we're out in Keewenaw Bay. We're finally getting good ice, several miles out offshore, and we're kind of in the middle of this bay here, fishing on one of the several different reef structures that comes up out of deeper water, which by deep I'm referring to 200 to 300 feet of water, and right now we're looking for about 80 to 100 feet of water, which is shallow on Keewenaw Bay for fishing for lake trout. But really, if you think about the places you catch them in the open water season trolling, spring, fall, and midsummer, really we're fishing that same type of structure where it's a really steep drop. There's a lot of bait fish that kind of filter through here, and we've got this really deep water nearby where these fish can kind of head out into when they're, done feeding. So the plan today is we're going to fish the edges of this reef. We're going to be looking for active fish on the graph, and once we find them, we're going to be really aggressively jigging for them, trying to get that reaction bite.
Today we were fishing about 3 miles out on the bay, and although it does take a little work and the right equipment to get out this far, the style of fishing is really pretty basic. As long as you have a decent graph and a few jigs, you can catch fish.
So really we start out working the jig right on the bottom. We're kind of banging it into the mud, trying to create a little bit of noise and stir things up a bit. And the theory is that gets the trout's attention as they're cruising around here, and once we've done that for a bit, I'm going to lift my jig up about 10 or 15 feet off the bottom, and then I'm watching the graph to see if fish are coming in at that level or even above or below it. And once I start seeing those active fish coming, I'll start to work them vertically in the water column. So if I've got a fish under my jig, I'm going to keep reeling away from that fish until it basically stops chasing or bites. If that fish turns off, I'm just going to drop it right down past him again. And a lot of times he'll turn and grab it on the drop, or the next time you start ripping it up, he's going to come up and nail it. Should be able to see him. There we go. Nice one. First fish. That's always the hardest one. But that didn't take long. I think we've been here about 15 minutes in earnest with lines down in the water for maybe 10 or 12. So that's a perfect starting point. This is about a 3 or 4 pound fish. Jane's hooked up. We got a double. I'm gonna let this one go, and we'll see what she's got. There he is at 50 feet. Oh, he's a good one.
Thanks.
You're caught on your jacket there.
My reel is loose.
Oh, yes it is.
Yes, it is. Have to do a little bit of hand lining.
Yeah, just keep doing exactly what you're doing. Getting close. There you go. Keep it up. Yeah. There, at the leader. Lift up. Oh, that's a nice fish. Okay. Oh, wow, Jane.
Oh, and look at that. My reel just broke.
That's a beaut. So that's getting to be one of the better types of quality of fish we're getting out here.
Oh, yeah. But right when I dropped it to the bottom, just right when I picked it off, and I felt slack in the line, and I picked up and I had a fish, and I almost lost him because my reel almost fell off my rod. So.
So fishing out in Keewenaw Bay, typically there's a lot of mixed results on any given day. It's a really big body of water. You know, we could drive 20 miles that way on ice still. So we're talking about a lot of places for fish to be and a lot of places for you to find fish. So, you know, folks that come up here for the first time, you know, a lot of times they might have a bad experience as far as catching fish just because of the vastness of it. But, you know, in addition to that, travel on the ice can be really challenging. You know, we had a little mechanical issue today with our tracks here, but you know, we just kind of took it slow and steady and made it out here anyways. But the ice is real kind of jagged the way it's formed this year. We've got a lot of broken up ice that's kind of formed back together, and now we've got 2 feet of snow on top of it. Oh, he's off. So even though the ice looks really thick here, you know, we're still using a lot of caution as we're coming further and further out. There's some great tools. One is MODIS, which is a satellite image that comes out every day. So on a clear day, we get satellite imagery to show us where this ice edge is at, and it's a really great idea to start online and look at that. And then as we're working our way out from shore, it's really a great idea, you know, especially if you're not seeing other people or in an area that's heavily traveled, to be checking your ice every little ways and really watching for ridges, spots on the ice that look slushy, because you know, we get these pressure cracks where wind and wave and everything can kind of pull that ice apart, and you know, usually, you know, those are spots where bad stuff can happen. So just really good to use extra caution. This one took a much more subtle presentation than the last few. The bites kind of slowed down a little bit for us, so I was literally just kind of working it right on bottom, just giving it a real subtle jig. And we got another nice eater-sized fish here.
Lake trout, like just about every other kind of fish, can be a little finicky at times, and even though you might see them on your graph, they don't always cooperate. But sometimes all it takes is a little change in the presentation to get them to bite.
The more you can get a lake trout to move on your graph, the more likely he is to bite. So just keep that in mind. You know, if you see fish that are chasing, they'll chase 2 or 3 times maybe from the bottom up. And a lot of times it's that second or third time that they're chasing it that they'll actually eat. But you really can't be too aggressive with these fish if they are chasing. You know, if they're in that mood, you know, their prey is typically smelt out here, and a smelt doesn't just sit there and give up. So, you know, an active presentation can be very effective sometimes, but if that's not working, you know, slow it down and cover your bases. Looks like a good one. Do you feel good?
Feels pretty good. Not as big as the biggest one we had so far, but.
Was he up in the water column, or you were jigging
Nope,
right by bottom?
Right by bottom, like the other
Just
two.
like the last one.
Yeah.
So the bites changed a little bit. There he is. Oh, that's a nice fish. That's a nice fish. You're showing me up today.
My hand's actually getting a little tired.
Nice. Well, we're catching up. It's been a slow bite the last hour, but it seems like these last couple of fish, we changed up the presentation a bit and just a really slow jig right on bottom. And now we're getting some different bites, so we'll take it.
Keewenaw Bay is a unique fishery with lots of contour and plenty of places to fish. Special thanks to Travis and Jane for teaching us all a little bit more about fishing the hard water on Keewenaw Bay.
Well, as you can see, they had a ton of fun up there above the bridge. Thanks to everybody that made that possible. We're going to head down to southern mid-Michigan right now and do a little rabbit hunting with father and son. Last week I hit the woods for what is probably my last rabbit hunt of the season, and I was really looking forward to hitting the woods today on a perfect day to be outside.
What's our plan of attack here today?
Basically we're just walking around brush piles, and the dog, she'll go in there, get the rabbits out.
Okay.
She'll run them. If we don't shoot them, she'll run them in a complete circle, look them back to us, and yeah, we'll shoot it, and she'll retrieve it back to us, so
Nice.
she'll bring it right back.
And how old is this dog?
She's 3.5.
3.5. Pretty good little rabbit dog, eh?
Yeah, very good.
And how often do you get out doing this?
I normally go, for sure on the weekends, I'll try to get out a couple times during the week too. Now we got that puppy, I'm working on training her too, so
Okay.
try to get out as much as I can.
So Cody and his dad Mark had contacted me and said not only did they have a good dog, but some great property. And let me tell you, they were right on both counts.
Get the bunny. Get the bunny. Good girl.
I think I winged it. She'll get it. Yeah, I think so.
Well, did we get that one?
I think we winged them, so I think we did. We'll find out here in a
We
minute.
have to upgrade that 410 to a 12 gauge.
Even though it took a few shots, the guys did manage to put enough into the rabbit. And with good dogs, they found their prize.
So you got a retrieving dog there for rabbits.
Yep.
That doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, I got that rabbit sent at the store and put it in the sock,
Okay.
and I played fetch with her in the house for a few weeks, and I got her going on that. She
Really?
started bringing them back, so.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, we got one in the bag.
One in the bag.
Cody had said his beagle would retrieve, and to be honest, I wasn't sure whether to believe him or not. I've only seen one beagle do that, and fortunately we would have a few more times to see it.
If you, can you see it?
Yeah.
Get it?
We had several times today that what looked like a miss actually was just enough to slow the rabbit down. And with good dogs, they were able to find them for us on this great piece of property.
This spot looked pretty promising for rabbits. It's really thick and a lot of briars in there, stuff that we don't like. But yeah, I found out who owned it, drove down, talked to him. Ended up being a real friendly guy, said we can hunt it anytime we want. So I think they just like being in the thicker stuff, so they feel safer in there maybe. Predators can't get to them.
Because this property is so thick, there are so many places for rabbits to hide. We did have our fair share of jumped rabbits, quick shots, and not much to show for it as well.
Missed him.
Where was he?
Right under here. Greg. There he goes.
This was a picture-perfect setup that at first seemed to have gotten away from us.
Must have been too open of a shot.
I got the only tree out there.
Once again, enough shot got through the brush, and we had found another bunny for the bag.
Good girl. Good girl.
Well, we did get it.
Hit it.
Now I have to take back me making fun of your shooting. That's a nice big rabbit.
Yeah, they're big in this field here. Right?
Well, how we doing, young man?
Oh, we got 4 in here now.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, good morning.
We barely even got to where we were trying to get to yet.
I know. Only came about 1/8 of it. So.
Jeez, boy, this is perfect habitat, and these dogs are really working well.
Yep. Doing what they're supposed to.
Good deal.
Today was one of those days you really look forward to. Getting to meet a father and son team that loves to hunt together. Spending time outside on one of those days where the warm sun feels so good, but yet you're walking through a foot or more of snow. Chasing beagles from pile to pile, I'm telling you, it was as good of a day as you can have in March.
We have to get another vest.
Get him, Bella. Get in there, Copper.
Get him, Bella.
Get in there. Get the bunny, girl. Good girl. Get the bunny.
Hey!
Holding pretty tight today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this little dog worked hard today, found a lot of scent, and showed me a hunt which is one of the better ones I have been on this year.
How did you know that there was one in there?
Basically, Bella goes up to a pile, if it's real thick like that, and she has a certain howl that she does, and she'll do that howl and we'll walk up to it and she'll wait for us to get there and then she'll go in there and flush it out to us.
Just like textbook.
Yep.
Nice shot.
Thank you.
So, what is the takeaway from this hunt? Well, first off, when you spend a lot of time taking your kids hunting, they at some point do return the favor and take you hunting. It also made me think just how lucky we are here in this great state. Today we were chasing bunnies in the snow-covered thicket. In a few short weeks we will be chasing steelhead in rivers filled with melting snow. Then chasing turkeys in the spring woods. We as Michiganders are one lucky group of sportsmen and women. Thanks to Cody and Mark for a memorable day in Michigan's Out of Doors. Hey everybody, we are here once again at Antlers Fireside Grill, Canadian Lakes area, kind of the Big Rapids area. We're here with Jim Wood, and Jim, we got some ground venison. What are we going to be doing here today?
We're going to make a ragu and we're going to serve it over pasta. So a lot of times people have ground venison, they don't really know what to do with it. This is just another use for it. So
how do we get started?
Now we're going to get our pan going here. And we're going to add a little olive oil. Actually, we're going to add a good amount of olive oil.
Okay. Usually you're a butter guy.
Yeah, butter just doesn't go with the sauce. I don't think butter and tomatoes goes that well together, but that's just me. So.
Now, is this a dish that you guys would do something similar here at the restaurant? Or
yeah,
no?
we do actually. We do a very similar dish to this. We don't use venison in it.
Okay.
We use a combination of pork sausage and beef. But like I said, This is just one of those ways to use this up, and you can make a whole lot of it and then freeze it in food saver bags and things like that. So
Okay. Take it up to deer camp.
definitely take it up to
Now,
deer
when
camp.
you do your venison burger, do you typically mix it with like a pork or something else, or do you like it just straight venison? Or
It all depends what the application is. For something like this, because we're going to add just a little bit of bacon, we don't need any extra fat. Now, if you're going to make venison burgers at your house or something like that, yeah, you definitely need to.
'Cause last few years I've been putting pork in there, and I didn't know if that was a normal thing that you would do with yours, being chef extraordinaire, or.
You can. It all depends. Yeah. Also, you're the only one who calls me that, so it's just weird.
Once the vegetables have cooked most of the way down, add a little salt, then add in the ground venison. Cook the venison most of the way through, then add wine, followed by bacon, and finally tomato sauce. Make sure to let the mixture cook down a little bit between every stage, and once you have it all put together, let it simmer for about 20 minutes.
All right, Jim, so we let this simmer now for 20 minutes or so. How do we finish this off?
So now we're going to finish it off with just a little bit of whole milk.
Just to thicken it up a little, or?
Yeah, it just gives a little body.
Okay.
And then we're going to finish it with we got a little bit of fresh thyme and some fresh basil in here.
And so you're cooking the pasta completely separate, so the pasta's already done. It doesn't finish in this.
Yep.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people would just take their warm pasta, put it on the plate, and then put their sauce over it. It just doesn't really do the pasta. It doesn't do the whole dish any justice, because the point is for you to cook the pasta, 90% of the way, and then that sauce will be absorbed into the actual pasta itself.
Okay.
And what kind of noodles are we talking about here?
These are egg fettuccine. Okay. The wider, the heartier the noodle, the better, just because this is a big, heavy, thick sauce.
And why water there and not like oil or something?
Water's going to help steam it and help warm it up a little bit. Okay. And it's also going to help loosen this sauce. Because as this sauce sits,
thickens up,
it's just going to get thicker.
Well, that is a cool way to do. I mean, this time of year, kind of getting towards the end of the venison for a lot of people, and you got a lot of burger left. This would be a great way to.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be venison. I mean, honestly, we've made a duck ragu before. So you take your duck breast or whatever parts of the duck you have and just run it through your grinder if you happen to have one.
Okay. Works as well.
Oh, it works great. Yeah.
Wow, that looks good. So what's the name of this dish then?
We're just going to call this venison ragu over fettuccine.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you join us over the next 2 weeks. We'll be covering our Big Buck Nights East and West. That's next week and the following week here on Michigan Out of Doors. And in the meantime, we'll be out in the woods and on the water, bringing you some more springtime fishing and some last-minute winter activities here on the show. If you'd like to see where we are and where we're headed next, you can always check us out online.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online is a great way to kind of keep tabs on us. We're at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com. Full episodes of the show there. We're also on most of the social media sites if you want to check us out there. Now, we did want to have kind of a point of clarification. At the end of January, we showed you a fishing trip out of the port of Port Sheldon, Michigan, where we were tied off to the North Pier. Well, come to find out, that is not legal to do. The folks at Consumers Energy that own that part of that pier wanted us to let you know that you are more than welcome to fish there, and you can anchor really in any parts of that channel there, but you cannot tie off to the North Pier, and the South Pier is private property as well. So if you're going to be fishing that area, and as things warm up and now that body of water becomes more accessible, we want to let you know that you can fish there. You got to anchor in that channel. You cannot tie off to the North Pier. Thanks to the folks at Consumers and for the DNR for working with us to kind of get a point of clarification on what you can and cannot do in that body of water. Thanks so much for joining us this week, and hey, if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or greenstonefcs.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. With its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses, Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows that include the Ultimate Sports Show in Grand Rapids, over 350 exhibitors, outdoor gear, boats, seminars, Lake Ultimate, and Big Buck Night. the ultimate sports show at the DeVos Place in Grand Rapids. By Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's destination since 1988. Featuring varieties of homemade sausage, jerky, brats, and gourmet entrees. Holiday gift boxes can be assembled in-store or online. Details at countrysmokehouse.com.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keewenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, east to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land.